Hey and hi. You know, in WWE, in the women's division, the sole purpose is to have that opportunity to be in the main event championship conversation of any woman on the women's roster. Every woman on that WWE roster has the exact same vision, wishing for an opportunity to be in that championship conversation, hoping to be in that championship conversation. Now, the critics have spoken. But before I begin, my best friend of 7 years, Winnie, also known as Wyatt, is on video call with me on the screen. As Winnie, also known as Wyatt, introduced this idea to me and wanting me to talk about the women's division. And I said, yes, as I will talk about it in segments. Now, the critics have spoken. They said, oh, Charlotte Flair should not have won the Royal Rumble. Oh, Charlotte Flair is spoiled. Oh, Charlotte Flair always has everything given to her. Oh, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And the whole time everybody is criticizing Charlotte Flair, I am laughing, you know? And to anybody and everybody that wishes to arrive here, you know, thank you. As I will take the time to read the comments once I am done discussing all of this, so that I can get through all of this. So all of you are welcome here, but if I see any disrespectful comments, I'm gonna block you. But if it's not disrespectful, anybody and everybody is welcomed here. Now, the critics have spoken. They said Charlotte Flair is spoiled. Charlotte Flair always has everything given to her. And I'm thinking, Charlotte Flair is spoiled. Really? So, Charlotte Flair first debuted in, when was it? 2013 in the NXT division. So, then in 2015, WWE decided to give her an opportunity to be on television. Now, from 2013 to 2015, she was in the NXT division. So for 2 years, Charlotte Flair has worked her way up to be given that opportunity to be on the main roster, to be on television. So you tell me, is Charlotte Flair putting in the effort for those 2 years from 2013 to 2015? Is that her being spoiled? Ha! I think not. Charlotte Flair put in that work for 2 years just to get on the main roster, to being on television. 2 years. That is not being spoiled, folks. That is not just having everything given to her. Now, the common saying is, oh, well, Charlotte Flair has it easy because of her last name, also known as Charlotte Flair's father is Ric Flair. Ric Flair was also a widely known famous wrestler back in the day. Now, Charlotte Flair's last name, Flair, yeah, her last name helped her get an opportunity to be in the WWE wrestling business. It helped her get that opportunity. But the rest was Charlotte Flair had to put in that effort. If Charlotte Flair did not have the wrestling gear that the audience would continuously remember, if Charlotte Flair did not have the proper promo skills, if Charlotte Flair was not able to compete in long-term wrestling matches if the WWE have not chosen to give Charlotte Flair hundreds of matches in the WWE? Would WWE have taken Charlotte Flair seriously? No. So in return, yes, Charlotte Flair deserves everything that has been given to her because she worked her way up to the main roster to be on television for 2 years. So her last name helped her get that opportunity, but that's it. The rest, she had to put in that effort. Charlotte Flair had to prove that she had promo skills. Charlotte Flair had to prove that she was able to go in that ring and provide wrestling maneuvers. Not just basic wrestling maneuvers, but technical wrestling maneuvers. Charlotte Flair had to prove that she had a proper wrestling gear that the audience would continuously remember. Charlotte Flair had to prove that she had to go out there and continuously get a reaction from the audience. Because in the WWE, for every action, there is a reaction. For example, the last time Charlotte Flair was on television was, here, let's see, let's scroll back. Wendy, also known as Wyatt, is on a separate screen, but December 8th, 2023. That was the last time Charlotte Flair appeared on television. Because Charlotte Flair, as it states, Charlotte Flair suffered a torn ACL, MCL, and meniscus during her match against Asuka on December 8th of 2023. Now you tell me, because most of you would say no to this. If you put your efforts into a wrestling business and you ended up suffering a torn ACL, MCL, and meniscus, would you be willing to sit on the sidelines for the next, I don't know, a year before visioning yourself going back onto the roster? Probably not, because you would be like, this torn ACL, MCL, and meniscus is just taking a toll on me. So I'm just going to call it quits. Most of you would do that. Don't play. Most of you would. But Charlotte Flair did not quit. She went to a rehab to put herself back into that physical shape so that she could make her return on February 1st of 2025. So, by definition of that alone, Charlotte Flair is not a quitter. Charlotte Flair is not spoiled. Everything was not just given to Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair had to prove her efforts within the wrestling business for years. Her debut in WWE was in 2013. Now it's 2025. That's 12 years. So is that the definition of someone being spoiled? If Charlotte Flair has proven to be a valued name in the business for 12 years, that means she is doing something right. Hello, DC Vlogs LSU. Says, hey, Suits, Charlotte is the queen. That's right. Charlotte Flair has proven it. And the only reason why I pointed out DC Vlogs LSU is because DC Vlogs LSU is on my fans list. So thank you to all of you who are willing to show up. Thank you. I appreciate it. Seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years. Woo! I am thankful. Wendy, also known as Wyatt, is thankful. The community here is thankful. All of us collectively are thankful for this opportunity in creating a community here. So, let's scroll back. Charlotte Flair being booed. So, yes, Wendy, also known as Wyatt, is on a separate screen on a video call. So, Charlotte Flair got booed on Raw. just yesterday. And people are saying, oh, why did Charlotte Flair win the Royal Rumble? It makes no sense. If it makes no sense, then how come when Charlotte Flair's last appearance was on, when was it? December 8th of 2023, right? So from December 8th, 2023, all the way to February 1st of 2025, Charlotte Flair did not appear on television at all. So for over a year, nothing. Charlotte Flair was gone because of a torn MCL, ACL, and meniscus. Now, when Charlotte Flair returned at the 2025 Royal Rumble, when Charlotte Flair walked out and made her entrance, she got a loud reaction. Charlotte Flair returning to the 2025 Royal Rumble was the action. Charlotte Flair walking down that aisle, woo, with a loud crowd reaction booing her. That is the reaction. So, if a wrestler gets cheered loudly, or if a wrestler gets booed loudly, that is a reaction. And in the WWE, if you are continuously getting a loud reaction, whether it is loud cheering or loud booing, that specific wrestler is doing something right. So Charlotte Flair got a loud booing reaction. Charlotte Flair was smiling. She knows that she is getting a reaction. So for the past year, from December 8th, 2023, leading up to February 1st, 2025, she was absent. So when she returned, the crowd instantaneously remembered who Charlotte Flair was, giving Charlotte Flair that instant reaction in her mind saying, everybody always knows who I am. Charlotte Flair, woo! And she's thinking to herself as she's walking down that aisle, I got a loud booing reaction. Hey, that's fine for me. That gives me the opportunity to know that everyone remembers who I am. Charlotte Flair. Everybody remembers every time when I walk down that aisle, they all instantaneously remember who she is. Now, I will respond to most of the comments once I'm done with this, because, okay. Now, during the Raw segment, Charlotte Flair walked out, giving her promo. Then Rhea Ripley walked out. Rhea Ripley. So, Charlotte Flair came out first. Rhea Ripley walked out next. Rhea Ripley stood in that ring holding her championship. She said, Charlotte Flair, I beg you to choose me. And once I heard Rhea Ripley say that, I was laughing. Rhea Ripley was begging Charlotte Flair to choose her for that WrestleMania match. That tells me one of two things. That number one, Rhea Ripley is desperate for fame because Rhea Ripley knows in the back of her mind that Charlotte Flair is already an automatic Hall of Famer. Already. Charlotte Flair has already etched her name in the record books, in the history books of the WWE. Her name is forever written in stone that Charlotte Flair is already an automatic Hall of Famer. Rhea Ripley has a lot to prove yet. Rhea Ripley is just now making a name for herself, while Charlotte Flair has already made a name for herself. So, why would it make sense for Charlotte Flair to choose Rhea Ripley? It doesn't. The last time Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley competed was at the previous WrestleMania, where Charlotte Flair lost to Rhea Ripley, giving Rhea Ripley that spotlight. So, I guess apparently to Rhea Ripley, that wasn't enough for Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley won the match. Rhea Ripley is champion. But yet Rhea Ripley is begging Charlotte Flair for another match at WrestleMania. So you tell me who's desperate. Charlotte Flair or Rhea Ripley? Well, the answer is Rhea Ripley. Because Rhea Ripley on Raw yesterday was begging Charlotte Flair for a match. So it only makes sense for Charlotte Flair to be done with Rhea Ripley so that Charlotte Flair can go to SmackDown and take the opportunity for a championship opportunity against Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton is an up-and-comer, awesome wrestler. Tiffany Stratton has a lot to prove. Tiffany Stratton's technical wrestling maneuvers is off the charts. Grade A. Tiffany Stratton's promo skills is decent. Tiffany Stratton has proven to this point that she can be taken seriously because of the reaction she is getting for every action she is giving by her walking out down that aisle and everybody, the viewing audience, continuously remembering who she is. Now, let's see where we're going here. Okay. So, the last 3 people that was in the 2025 Royal Rumble. My initial prediction was Liv Morgan, Bayley, and Charlotte Flair. So I was right out of 1 out of 3 because the actual results was Roxanne Perez, Nia Jax, and Charlotte Flair, who I initially guessed would be the remaining 3. Now, we all knew that Nia Jax was not going to win the Royal Rumble. Let's be honest here. Because Nia Jax is never getting the maximum amount of a reaction that would place her in a position to be taken seriously in the championship conversation. So we already knew Nia Jax was not going to win the Royal Rumble. That remains with 2 remaining. Roxanne Perez and Charlotte Flair. By that time, I had a feeling that Charlotte Flair was going to win, but I also thought in my mind they could possibly flip the script and give Roxanne Perez that opportunity. It is okay to randomly flip the script from time to time. So, do I take Roxanne Perez seriously as a potential championship wrestler on the main roster? Yeah! Roxanne Perez has proven that she can be taken seriously, which is surprising to me as to why they have kept Roxanne Perez on the NXT division for so long. But yet, they gave her the opportunity to be in the Royal Rumble. And not only giving Roxanne Perez the opportunity to be in the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble, but also allowing Roxanne Perez to be in the final 3 remaining wrestlers in the Royal Rumble. So, at that point, I said it was a toss-up. Roxanne Perez or Charlotte Flair. Either one. And they gave the opportunity for Charlotte Flair to win. This was a good decision. And I'll explain why. Everybody already knows that Charlotte Flair is an instant Hall of Famer. automatic already. It is already written in stone. So, for anybody, for any other women's wrestler, any other women on that roster, if Charlotte Flair picks any woman to wrestle in a match on television, any and all of those women on that roster will automatically say yes in that opportunity to be in a promo segment with Charlotte Flair, to wrestle in a match against Charlotte Flair, because all those other women know that Charlotte Flair is an automatic Hall of Famer. As a result, saying to any and all of the other women's wrestlers that they know that if any of them were given the opportunity to be in the same wrestling ring as Charlotte Flair, that they know that their name would be automatically risen in famous status. Like their name would be instantly forever known. If you are given the opportunity to stand in the same ring as Charlotte Flair and having your wrestling name being typed in the title of any video upload on the WWE main page, your name is forever automatically famous. That is why it was a good choice for Charlotte Flair to win the Royal Rumble. Charlotte Flair is not spoiled, because she had to work her way up to the main roster for 2 years. Not 1 year, but 2 years. Before even being given the opportunity to appear on the main roster. And saying that, oh, Charlotte Flair was just given every opportunity. So, how many times was Charlotte Flair crowned champion collectively in total? 14 times. 14 times Charlotte Flair has been crowned champion. And in order for Charlotte Flair to have been crowned champion 14 times, Charlotte Flair had to lose the championship 14 separate times to be given the opportunity to potentially earn back the championship 14 times. So no, not everything was given to Charlotte Flair. Her last name helped her get into the door for an opportunity to wrestle, but that's it. Everything else is on Charlotte Flair. It is a choice for Charlotte Flair to show up to these televised scheduled events. It's a choice. You either show up or you don't. Charlotte Flair is on a contract. So in her mind, say, if I want to be taken seriously, I have to show up to these televised scheduled events. I have to compete in hundreds of matches to even be considered to be talked about in the Hall of Fame status conversation. So, for anyone that chooses to disrespect Charlotte Flair, anybody and everybody who chooses to disrespect Charlotte Flair, each and every one of them are 100% jealous, because each and every one of those people that disrespect Charlotte Flair, every one of those people wishes that they had the opportunity to be signed with the WWE. Each of them wish that they had the opportunity to walk down that aisle, making that entrance in the center of that ring. Each of them wished that they had the opportunity to say a promo in the middle of that ring. Each of them wished that they got a reaction every time they walked down that aisle. Every time Charlotte Flair walks out, every time, everybody instantaneously always remembers her. telling you that Charlotte Flair has put in the work in making a name for herself independently. She did not need Ric Flair's help in all of her matches. Let's scroll back down memory lane, shall we? To any of you people who choose to disrespect Charlotte Flair. Oh, let's scroll back. Let's see. Oh, there we go. There we go. In the year 2016. Yeah. Scroll back. Do your research. In the year 2016, the WWE had a scheduled live event. Said the first ever women's cage match. First ever. First ever. Whenever there is a first ever type of match, it is taken seriously. A prestigious, serious agenda. And who was in that match? In the first ever women's cage match. The year was 2016. Who are the opponents? Sasha Banks, also known as Mercedes Moné, now being signed with AEW. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte Flair. So in the first ever women's cage match, one of the opponents, WWE, chose Charlotte Flair. That tells me, by definition, that the WWE takes Charlotte Flair very seriously. If the WWE cared to announce Charlotte Flair being one of the two wrestlers to be in the first ever women's cage match, which was dated back in the year 2016. That is history. That is prestigious history. Now, if the WWE never chose to take Charlotte Flair seriously, then how come the WWE gave Charlotte Flair hundreds of matches for her to compete in on television? How come the WWE offered Charlotte Flair hundreds of opportunities to be in promo segments on television? I'll tell you why. Because the WWE has seen that Charlotte Flair is serious about putting in the efforts related to her promo skills, related to her charisma, related to her image as a wrestler, related to her wrestling maneuvers, basic wrestling maneuvers, and on top of that, technical wrestling maneuvers. Now you tell me, if the WWE offered Charlotte Flair hundreds of promo segments opportunities, hundreds of wrestling matches, multiple WrestleMania moments, then you tell me how Charlotte Flair does not deserve anything that she has earned. Her last name gave her the opportunity to be given an opportunity to be a potential successful wrestler. It was an opportunity. Charlotte Flair did not earn an opportunity related to her last name. It was an opportunity given to her. But for Charlotte Flair to be taken seriously as a wrestler, for Charlotte Flair to be taken seriously as a main event wrestler, for Charlotte Flair to be taken seriously as to be chosen as one of the two women to wrestle in the first ever women's cage match in 2016. You tell me how Charlotte Flair did not earn everything that she has earned. Oh, I'll tell you why. Because Charlotte Flair knows that she has put in 100% efforts, because every time she walks down that aisle, every time she stands in the middle of that ring giving her promo segments, every time Charlotte Flair wrestles in every single match, the entire audience will and always remember who she is, which equals reaction. For every action that she walks down that aisle, she knows that she is going to get a reaction because of everyone instantaneously remembering who she is. Just because somebody is familiar with you does not automatically mean that you're always going to get an instantaneous reaction. But Charlotte Flair does get an instantaneous reaction every time, because the entire audience in the WWE knows that Charlotte Flair has competed in hundreds of matches. Charlotte Flair worked her way up to the main roster to be on television for 2 years initially, even before appearing to be given the opportunity to appear on the main roster on television. Charlotte Flair suffering a torn ACL, MCL, meniscus, dating back to December of 2023, taking that year off to say, hey, Charlotte Flair saying in her mind, hey, I'm going to get back into physical shape so that I can make that return. And what does she do on February 1st of 2025? Woo! Entrance number 27 of the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble. They announced her name, Charlotte Flair. The entire venue of Lucas Oil Stadium giving her a loud reaction of boos, making Charlotte Flair smile at every moment as she was walking down that aisle, because she knew that for every action of her walking down that aisle is a reaction for the entire viewing audience, giving a loud response. Do the math. Every time Charlotte Flair walks down that aisle equals a loud reaction. So she got a loud reaction of boos. That is a good thing for every WWE wrestler. They wish that every time they walk down that aisle that they get that loud reaction. Because if you are a women's wrestler, and if you walk down that aisle every time, and if you are not getting any reaction, whether it is a loud cheering or a loud booing, then you are not doing something right. That means you are not taken seriously from the viewing audience. 2025 Women's Royal Rumble. Entrance number 27. Charlotte Flair making her epic return. When she walked down that aisle, the fireworks went off. Woo! The loud reaction of boos. Woo! Charlotte Flair walking down that aisle, taking her time casually. Woo! Charlotte Flair knowing that she is already an automatic Hall of Famer from being a wrestler from 2013 to the current day as of now. Woo! Charlotte Flair being the final three in the Women's Royal Rumble 2025. Roxanne Perez, Nia Jax, and Charlotte Flair herself. Woo! And Charlotte Flair eliminating Nia Jax and Roxanne Perez to be crowned the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble winner. Woo! And now, Charlotte Flair being given the opportunity to either face Rhea Ripley or Tiffany Stratton. Woo! This tells you that Charlotte Flair is not spoiled. This tells you that Charlotte Flair has not just been given everything to her. This proves, without a shadow of a doubt, that because of Charlotte Flair's natural charisma, Charlotte Flair's natural promo skills, Charlotte Flair's natural charisma, Charlotte Flair's natural technical wrestling maneuvers, it tells you that Charlotte Flair knows that she has put in the work to be given that opportunity to be crowned in the record books in the automatic Hall of Fame. So, you tell me, folks, why would anybody dare disrespect Charlotte Flair? So for any of you to disrespect Charlotte Flair, that only tells all of us one thing, that each and every one of you who chooses to disrespect Charlotte Flair, each and every one of you are jealous because you wish you were in the same opportunity that Charlotte Flair is in. So, to any disrespectful people, you can see the door where it says exit, E-X-I-T. Because disrespect will not be allowed on Charlotte Flair's name. Disrespect will not be allowed on Charlotte Flair's charisma. Disrespect will not be allowed on Charlotte Flair's efforts from 2013 all the way up to the current day now. Because it has been proven, without the shadow of a doubt, that Charlotte Flair in the record books has proven that she has put in the effort every time she walks down that aisle, given the opportunity to return as she wishes. 2025 Women's Royal Rumble, entrance number 27. Walking down that aisle, Indianapolis, Indiana, Lucas Oil Stadium. A instantaneous, loud reaction that tells you automatically that Charlotte Flair has, will, and always be a living legend. Woo! And on that note, my live streams will happen at any day and at any time. To the potential newer viewers in the very last row, to the critics in the next row, to the casual viewers in the next row, and most importantly, to my fans on my fans list in the front row, to Winnie, also known as Wyatt, my best friend of 7 years, also me, all of us collectively, seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, I am thankful to say that I have a community here. Thank you to all of us for being us. And once again, stay tuned for all of my live streams that will happen at any day and at any time. And I have just explained as to why Charlotte Flair has, will, and always be a living legend in the WWE wrestling business. Not just because of her last name, but because she has proven her efforts within the first 2 years before even appearing on mainstream television in WWE. Appearing in the first ever women's match in 2016, in the first ever women's cage match. To appear in hundreds of matches. To appear in hundreds of segments. Promo segments. To appear in hundreds of wrestling matches. Charlotte Flair proving her technical wrestling maneuvers hundreds of times. Charlotte Flair being given 14 separate times and winning the championship or losing the championship or retaining the championship. And most importantly, Charlotte Flair not giving up and her making her epic return at the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble previously on February 1st when she walked down that aisle casually because she knew once she got that instantaneous crowd reaction, she knew that each and every one of those people would only wish that each and every one of them was in the position that Charlotte Flair has, will, and always have earned. E-A-R-N-E-D. Charlotte Flair pointing at that WrestleMania image. That tells you that the WWE cherishes every moment of Charlotte Flair. My live streams will happen at any day and at any time.